Okay, so what's going on? YouTube, RC Dungeon followers, gonna do an update video and some here in a little bit an install video. I'm gonna loop them all together. I'm gonna try to get them all set up and back to back them. So anyhow, with that being said, this is probably going to turn out to be a longer video, so if you don't want to tune in for a longer video, then don't watch the video. I'm just putting that out there because it's going to be a longer video. The 4runner, I don't know if you can notice from the last video, she's a little lower than what it was. I'll turn the camera here. I don't want to get too long-winded. Long story short, if you watch my last video, it was still sitting kind of higher than what I liked. With the A&M Garage reverse shackle kit on the front, it moves your front axle forward a little bit. And if you message Bert, that's A&M Garage, he will explain to you that you will need a longer front drive shaft, even with the standard reverse shackle kit, which is no big deal. Well, I guess it is if you don't want to change your front drive shaft. So if you want to keep your stock front drive shaft and you want more of a scale look, then go with the RC four-wheel drive like my bud, is using on his channel, Jose Canseca, if you guys want to check him out. If you want more of an off-road, which is my thing, hence the tube bumpers and everything, and, the deep dish wheels and everything, I like the off-road look stuff. That's just me. Anyways, I told you in the last video I wasn't going to use the red leaf springs. Well, I lied. I ended up putting the red leaf springs on here because I had them just to see what they looked like. And I actually like them a lot better than the standard springs. I like the suspension working out like it does with the extra weight and everything here from the 4runner body, the red leaf springs. I really liked it. Of course, you're going to get the same action with the standard springs as you're doing with the red super softs. You're going to get the same action with those springs, with your factory ones, once you put a lot of packs through it and they start getting broken in. So, all you got to do is wait for your regular springs to break in. I had the red super soft leafs. I'm running them on my Marlin. Supposedly the Marlin has the super softs on them from the factory. They're just black instead of red. I like them a lot on the Marlin. They are actually starting to wear in more on the Marlin, and I just thought, well, if they worked out on the Marlin with this little heavier of a body, it's going to give me my body action and my ride and my suspension travel, like you see there, that I liked, that I want, which this is plenty for me, for a scale trail truck. So anyways, I am running the red softs. What I did was I painted them black, with a ceramic coated, or well, it's not, they say it's a ceramic coat. It's like a high heat type engine paint, and it softened it up quite a bit. I got good body action. I'm not pushing on it very hard. I like how the bodies move with these red soft leaf springs. I went ahead and I took them off, and you got to be careful doing this. What I did was, the red leaf springs are softer, and I wanted them to be a little flatter. And as you break in your leaf springs on these RC four-wheel drive rigs, from what I've researched and watched videos and everything, especially RC Everyday, if you look at them, they kind of flatten themselves out, okay? It's like, he calls them breaking in. In the one-to-one world, that's kind of almost like a wore-out leaf spring. But, essentially, I did the same thing with the super softs. I kind of just worked them out and flattened them a little bit. And then what that equated into, it did kind of extend this front end out a little more, which also made my front drive shaft pop out a little more. So But you can see everything still lines up nicely. I like, with my front wheel, just a little axle forward a little bit. It looks, personally myself, it looks a little better. I hated how the 4Runner had the front axle set back here, and it was like your front shock set weird in the front. But with the A&M shackle reverse and extending with the weight on everything, it put my shock almost straight up and down, without moving my shock hoops or anything. So I like that personally for me. But that's just me. So moving on, next, a buddy of mine was down there at the semi-local hobby shop for him, and they had 2 sets of these. These are the old school Junfac SCX10 axles, or drive shafts, okay? Now, this isn't the correct drive shafts. Well, one of them is, for the TF2. I had a lot of trouble finding the TF2. The one I had bought previously was for a long wheelbase. I sold those. My friend's got them. He's using them on his truck because they were a perfect fit for what he was running. These are the SCX10 Dingo, the original short wheelbase SCX10. SCX10.1, I guess. You know, the very, very original. However, this one drive shaft right here, let me find it. This one. This is the 95 millimeter to 130 millimeter, okay? Which is already, is what the Trailfinder 2 wheelbase requires, front and rear in the Junfacs. If you're looking at the Junfacs, it's a 95 to 130 millimeter is perfect. Even with a little bit of an extended wheelbase, it's perfect, okay? Now, I'll flip that over. I've already installed one of them. I was going to go ahead and do an install video because I haven't done an install video for a while. So, I don't want to get this part of the video a little, you know, long-winded. You can see here, I've already got this Junfac in here. I've already got it in and everything set up. As you can see, not popping out, not going anywhere. She's in there, nice and tight and perfect and smooth. Drive line, no binding. Very nice drive shafts, these Junfacs. This is the 95 to 100. That's what, or 95 to 130 millimeter. Was in the same pack, the other pack of these. I got them both, like I said. I seen them, so I just PayPal'd money and had them sent to me. Because these are hard to find. I think there's some of these on eBay maybe still. But if you buy them this way, you got to get 2 packs. Which I only paid for 2 packs what one of these cost on eBay that I could find. Which is like a little over 30-some bucks. So, you know, I feel as that they just got rid of them. Because you can see they had been sitting on the shelf for a while. I guess nobody really wanted these or anything like that. Because a lot of guys are running the Incisions and everything. I like these drive shafts. I ran them a lot back in the day. I ran them, I got a set up for my original Trailfinder. So anyways, this one is going to be going on the rear back here, replacing the crappy plastic drive shaft on it. So it'll match this front drive shaft. So, and we're going to be doing an install video of putting that in. Which, you know, I'll stop this video when I'm done, and then I'll just cut in. The other video will be edited into with this one. So, I have some more stuff coming for this. I got a different rear bumper, because everybody's running this style kind of rear bumper. But, you know, they make the one specific for the Marlin, to where you can kind of get your tailgate down. Let me get the tailgate. You can see this one's for the Marlin. It hits it. But they make one specifically. It's basically the same thing. It's CC hand, but it pulls these. These are a little wider opening here between these 2 bars, so you can open and close your tailgate. I went with a, you know, single tube bumper that's going to be running down through here. And it has a little trailer hitch, which is something I wanted, a little trailer hitch on it, to where I could pull stuff if I wanted or whatever. So I got that coming. I'll have another video separate for that when I get that and to show you guys. I can't remember the part number for it. It's an RC 4-wheel drive steel tube hand welded steel tube bumper. But anyways, besides that, I decided to go. I wanted the Boom Racing one. Pretty much out of stock everywhere. My bud found one. Researching around and everything. It's a Boom Racing, the Boom Racing high clearance skid. I really didn't need anything to raise it up that high. I don't have an issue. This is the same skid plate that comes on the Marlin. I went ahead and installed it. I can give you guys the part number here. This is the low profile RC 4-wheel drive, the Delrin low profile transfer case skid plate mount, transfer case mount. This is the stock one. They make two. RC 4-wheel drive makes two. Technically three if you count this shovel that comes on the trail finder. That hangs down like crazy. That's terrible. It is aluminum. I mean, it's nicely made and everything, but it hangs down too far. So this is basically what comes on the Marlin. And I haven't had a single issue getting hung up or high centered with the Marlin with this with my kind of trailing and everything. So this should be fine for me. If not, I'll hold out later, and if the Boom Racing ones come back into stock, excuse me, I'll get the Boom Racing one. But for now, this Delrin one right here, is going to work perfectly fine for me. And then it's nice because, like my bud explained, I already knew because the Marlin, it screws in from the bottom. You don't have the screws that come in here from the side. The factory one screws in from the side up here. So you don't have to separate your frame rails if you've got a really, really, really good ball end tool, Allen tool, which I have. And you can get the screws loose on your factory one. You don't got to separate your frame plates. And on to that, RC 4-wheel drive makes another one of these that actually moves your transfer case up even further. But you have to reinstall it like your factory one. The screws go in from the sides. Okay? So, anyhow, with that, I am running. This is perfectly fine for me for trail use and everything. I can't see that being a problem. Works great on my Marlin so far. I've got several trail runs on it. And this significantly increases your room, your underbelly of your rig. So, and like I said, this has lowered significantly either way. This trail finder just looked goofy to me. This 4runner, it just did not look right to me in the stock kind of form looking stuff. That's just me personally. I did not like how the shocks was angled back on the front. I did not like it. It just looked wrong to me. I wanted it to sit lower, but not. I still wanted it to look like a lifted 4runner. But the red leaf springs, the A&M shackle, I mean, everything kind of went, for me personally, this is what I wanted this thing to look like right here. Better view of it. I love it. This is how I really like how it's coming out. Like I said, got the Marlin front bumper. Once I get the winch here mounted on the front, you won't be noticing, that gap so much. My buddy, it kills him having that gap here. I like the pre-runner kind of look. That's just me. That's how properly the off-road guys install these tube bumpers. You take your, crappy little tin Toyota, bumper with your lights in it off, and, those some guys chop the ends of them off and try to leave them. It looks ghetto to me like that. So, most guys, this is how they run them. So, and then I'm going to be blacking out my grill. I'm not sure if I'm doing the whole grill in black or just the insert pieces. Once I do that and I get this, I'm going to get a radiator to put in it. You're not even going to notice this. It's going to go pretty much away with the inner fenders. So, I just wanted to explain that. So I'm going to do an install video of this drive shaft, and we'll get to that. And I'll go ahead and open the Junfacs here on camera. So this will be like like I said, guys, it's already a 15-minute video almost, so I'm going to shut it off here. Hopefully, and I'll just string these videos together. Like I said, it's going to be kind of long, so just bear with me. If you want to watch it, watch it. But this is where we're at right now. I'm really happy with how I have it set up and how she's running, how the suspension's loosening up. This is how I like it. So let's get on to the drive shafts. Okay, guys, so on to part 2 here. We're gonna open up our package. I don't want to tear this up because I want to keep this for the part number info on the drive shafts. So gonna cut this open. My other one was already kind of open, so get that out of the way. Dump our stuff out here. Be careful not to lose anything. It comes with your joint grease that you'll need, your little keepers, okay, for your drive shaft retainer pins. By the way, there's a Chinese company that have duplicated these that I've seen online. I've ran them. They're okay. They're not as good as quality, but they do have them online. The China company, they don't come with as good as a retainer ring that the Junfacs come with. If you got some extra Junfac retainer rings, they do fit the knockoff ones and actually do retain and work out just fine. Because these things hold up pretty good power and everything. There's your installation instructions that show you, how you got to keep your angles and all that stuff matching when you install them, and I'll show you what I mean when we do it. So that way you're not flexing opposite directions. So you want 36 degrees of to matching, okay? If not, your drive shaft's going to be binding. So anyways, we don't need this short one. We'll save this back, even though this probably would work. That might actually work for the front even. I don't know. I'm not going to try it because I highly recommend, especially with the A&M kit, you want the 95mm to 130mm Junfacs. So, and if you buy the Chinese knockoff ones, try to get the closest from 95mm to 130mm and you'll be set. That's for the standard trail finder wheelbase. This one we're not going to use. This would be the front on the Dingo SCX10. We're not going to be using that. So this is the one that you're going to need. Like I said, it's 95 to 130 mil. We're not going to measure it. That's what it is. Same thing that I'm running in the front. So this is just going to be a, assembly video. This is really weird. The other ones did not come with the pins. So I'm going to show you guys. Let me get me one of my tools here. Because we got to grease this stuff up. I've already got the pins pushed through these, which is really odd. So let me get the pin out here. I got to get the pin out. We've got the screws already. There's a little grub screw here. You got to take that little grub screw out because you're going to want to put Loctite on that to hold it in. And then there's a little pin here. Comes out, little chrome pin. Okay? Just pulls out. And then this pulls out and you got there's a little barrel, threaded barrel in here, like a CVD. You take it out. There it is. Okay, and it's just simple. It just doesn't matter which way you put it back up in there. It just kind of goes up inside of your drive shaft. Just like that. And then that's how you put that part in. So we got that one, and you got your little pin. Don't lose it. And you got your little grub screw. Okay? There's your little grub screw. Okay. So we got, what I do is I take my little retainer, take your drive shaft apart, and I'll slide that retainer up on that one, and that retainer, just like that, on your drive shafts, and leave them dangle there. So they're installed on your drive shaft. You don't got to worry about putting these two ends together yet. Okay? So you can take this that you put your little retainers on, and just lay it off to the side. Take your other retainers and put them off to where they don't get knocked off and lost. So you got everything you need right here. You need some, I'm going to go ahead and use blue Loctite. Purple is good if you have it. Blue's also fine. These are metal. You can heat them later on to get and shake up your blue Loctite a little bit. I'm out of the purple right now. So you're going to open your grease. Okay. I just take a snip a little part on your grease there with your scissors. Just snip it open. And then get you some shop towels or something. Go to tear one off to clean your finger, your hands and stuff with. I usually take my shop towel, lay it over here beside me. You want to take your joint grease, and what you do is just take your little, your little piece here. Remember your barrel in there. It fell out down there. You want to squeeze just a little bit of that grease. I don't know if I got it cut open far enough. I'll have to cut it a little bit more. Okay, now there we go. You can see the grease came out on the tip of the scissors here. So, you want that grease down inside here a little bit, okay? So, now we can take our grease that we got, and I just take it and put a little bit inside there, just like that, because you want... This is a joint that pivots and moves, okay? So we got that little bit of grease in there. You don't need a lot. Take your little barrel with your threaded barrel. And keep an eye, because there's only threads on one end of your barrel. You want to make sure there's threads on one end, there's not threads in the other. So slide your little barrel in there and just kind of spin it around. You can see you get the grease worked around. You can just wipe that excess grease off in there. You're just getting your joint greased up. That's all you're doing, okay? So, wipe your fingers off. They give you plenty of grease. Set it down on your towel. What I usually do to grease the ball end, I fill that up with grease. So you take your little grease thing here, okay? And just take a little bit of grease in that. There you go. That's all you need. Just a little bit in there, okay? I went a little overboard, truthfully. So, then you're going to take your little pin, okay? Take this. Make sure you don't drop your little ball in. Pay attention where your threaded end's at, okay? And it don't matter. There's multiple holes here in your drive shaft as long as you get to your 36 degrees here. And I just set that up in there, and I work that around. Get that grease worked around on that pivot ball. You can see I don't want to drop that out of there. And then I keep the threaded end facing me. So we're going to put that back in. And we're going to find our little pin here. We're going to drop it through. All right. And we're going to take our little retaining ring for the pin. And we're going to put it on. And there's nothing special about how it goes on. It just kind of pulls around and sits in a little groove here. I'll show you in a second. I don't want to lose my retaining lock ring here. There we go. Get it started. It just sits in your little groove there. That's it. It just sits in that groove. Okay. And you can see there it holds your pin. If I can get the camera to focus. There you go. And then we got a greased up unit there. I like to grease. You gotta have your unit greased. So, well, you need to get your grub screw. Get you some Loctite. Okay. You don't need a bunch on it. Get you a little bit of Loctite, blue or purple. Purple if you have it. And we're just gonna, you're threaded in. You're just gonna go right in there, guys. Maybe. Well, I'm an idiot. I had it turned backwards, to me. So there we go. Okay, so, and that holds your pin where it should be. And then you got a joint that moves around. Just like that. And that side's done. So, you're greased up. That side's assembled. Everything's moving on its own. Okay? So move on to the next one. Don't forget you got your little ring sitting on there. We're not going to take all this apart. We're just going to do this real quick here. You take your little grub screw out here. And we're going to Loctite it. Just like so, a little bit of Loctite. I'm going to start it in there. That holds your little pin. Okay. Okay, and we'll back it back out. So, we do need to take this out because we got to grease it. I almost forgot. See, there you go, guys. Pay attention to what you're doing. You got to grease her up, son. Grease her up. So, a little bit of grease on that. I'm going to go ahead and put the grease off of that onto my little barrel. And then drop it into here. Like so. Pay attention where my threaded end is this time. Okay. So we got the pin going up. I'm assembling my little drive shafts so they match each other. Okay. How my flex is. Where my pin's at and everything. I line the pins up on the drive shaft and everything. So we're going to put this in here. Just like so. I'm going to grab my retaining ring here and slide it up. And then hook our drive shaft together. And make sure our pins are going in the same hole. So our pin goes straight into that one. So we're going to have to run this. Where's my grub screw? It has to go like this right here. So need my pin. Pin goes in. Retaining ring. Just like that. And our drive shafts match one another. So, go over here, find my threaded end of the barrel, Loctite. Okay? And then put your... There we go. Grub screw is in. So that drive shaft's built and built correctly. I'll take this and set it over here in my plastic. See how that grease that they give you gets everywhere. So you want, that's why I kind of have the towel, and then I just wipe the excess stuff off of it. That's it. But that way you get your drive shafts. Everything is timed together. Your little slit that, and your little slit there. Okay? So your drive shafts are all circular motion, flexing the same as the other. That way nothing's binding. And then you'll match your grub screw on your actual hookup to the same also, but we'll get into that in a minute. So, last thing you want to do with these Junfacs is a little bit of grease on the slider shaft up here. Just like that. Just a little bit on it. And then slide it back together. And then, there we go. That's it. So that other one's assembled. So that's going to be it for this part of the video. I'm going to go ahead and put my other retaining rings and all that stuff over here to the side. So nothing gets lost with the instructions. And that's going to go in the parts stuff for later in case I break something or, whatnot. So, because that's the only one I need to build. So, next part of the video will be putting it on the 4runner because there's some stuff that you have to do with the SCX10. Even the trail finder, you have to modify your input shafts a little bit. And I will do that in this next part of the video. Alright guys, so fourth installment or whatever this is. This is the modifying the output shafts on the trail finder to fit the incisions are the same as these Junfacs, the SCX10 Junfacs, because the output shafts are just a hair bit too long. like I explained in the video before. Of course, I'm going to get this going this way because this is the way it's going to go. So you got to give a little, you got to kind of trim this back, like I said before, to get that to fit in here. So your pin will go in your drive shaft, okay? So this is me doing a video for you guys, trimming the output shaft here. We're going to start with this one. You don't got to take as much meat, or so I call it, off of this one. You got to take a little more off your transfer case side. So let's get started on the differential for right now. So I'm using a Dremel. This is a cheap Black & Decker I've used for years. Works really good. It's variable speed. You just, you know, I keep it on the lower speed so I can control it a little bit. It's on low. As you can see there, any Dremel will work. You can use a stone, grinding wheel on it, whatever. I use these. I got a ton of these. Little sanding wheels on your little, you know, thing here for your Dremel. And then you want to get yourself some, you want to use safety glasses, okay? Because this is metal. You're going to be, you know, grinding metal. So let's get to it. Pay attention to what you're doing. And then as you're doing this, you want to periodically check it to make sure you're not taking too much and just the right amount. So we're going to start on our low setting. I'm going to hold it. We're just going to start grinding a little bit. You want to put a little, I've got this here setting to catch your, let me turn this off, to catch, you know, our metal shavings. That way it's not covering our chassis. It's going down in here and we can just dump the metal shavings. So let's get to it. And I spin it around, make sure you're getting it evenly. And then I round these off a little bit. That way you don't have any sharp corners going up into your drive shaft. So we're going to check for fitment of our drive shaft here. Take your drive shaft, put it up in there, get your driver and your pin, and see if it'll thread into your, there you go. That's all there is to it. You don't want it to where it threads down tight. You want it to just, it threads itself down in there. So we're going to take it back out. Okay, that side's done. So take your little catch for your metal shavings and just dump it out in your trash. Okay, and that way you get minimal metal shavings anywhere else here. And you just trim very little off this, guys. It's minuscule. So then you're going to take your paper, get it back up in here, get it tamped down because you don't want to get it caught up in your, you know, your Dremel here. And this is a little harder, so you have to take a little more off of this one. So I got to kind of pay closer attention with this one. And this hard metal grinds pretty easy, so just be careful. Turning, make sure you're getting even. Don't grind it at an angle. You don't want to mess anything up. because you're just taking a very little bit off. And then once again, same as the rear, I want to get into my skid plate there. You want to get the corners of it. That way you don't have any sharp edges. Alright. And then kind of just wipe that down. Be careful, it's going to be a little hot. And then we'll see if our pin lines up yet. I don't think it is. It looks like this one you have to take quite a bit more off than the other. So, no. See, our pin's still not coming up into mounting in. Okay. Okay, so gotta take some more off of it. Like I said, the transfer case more, you have to take more off. So, we're gonna get into taking more of it off the transfer case. Keep a hold of it. Almost nicked my skid plate there. Kind of hard to do in film. And then obviously, the safer way of doing it is to take the truck apart and do your parts, but I'm not doing that. Just be careful and keep a good hold on the Dremel. And pay attention to what you're doing, you'll be fine. Keep turning the wrong wheels. Did it again. Alright, let's see what we got here. So, I think we should got about the right amount right there this time. So, yep, there we go, guys. You just want it to where it threads down in there nice. You don't, not that it's tight. There's that one. And then you got your hook up here on that one. And your other pin will go in. There you go. That's all there is to it. I'll go ahead and grab the other pin and show you. Little Dungeon Master's here helping.
And Foxy too.
Let's take your other pin. And there we go. Want it to thread in like that. So there it is, guys. That's all you got to do. And then clean off your... I'm going to go ahead and pull the drive shaft back out. But you see how you got a little bit of... You want to make sure you have that little bit of play here. Nothing's binding, pushing together. And we're golden there. I can almost probably get away with running that short drive shaft in the back. But I'm not going to. Because it calls for the 95 to the 130. So we're going to go ahead and pull this back out. I'm going to go ahead and clean some of the burrs off of this transfer case side and clean it up before, I install everything for good. We're just going to go ahead and clean this up around the top part here. That way it's a little more, the sharp edges aren't cutting into anything. And that's it, guys. That's what you do. The Incision dry shaft should be the same. Going to dump out our metal shavings here in our trash can that we caught. You can see there's the... You don't take a ton of it off. And then I just usually blow it off. If you got compressed air, works fine. I'll take it out later to the probably compressed air. This helps significantly keeping the metal shavings off. And then that's it. We're all done. Hopefully we caught everything good on the camera. That's literally all there is. The Incision links are the same way. And then it's just installing your dry shaft back in. Making sure that you've got your... I always even make sure my grub screws are facing down. And then make sure everything's lined up here. Go ahead and put this one in. And then I'll take them back out and put my Loctite on them in a minute. Because we won't be taking them back out. Thread that one in. And then make sure our pins too Everything's lined up. Your grub screws and your pins. Pins on that side. Pins on that side. Slides right in there. Now we got the burrs off of it. And then we're just literally, there you go, guys. That's all there is to it. And then we have the Junfac drive shafts installed. I had this underneath here just to try to get it to show up a little better. And there's our Junfac drive shafts. That's it. We got upgraded drive shafts in the 4runner. That's all there is to it, guys. Like I said, that's it. The incisions are the same. It's just like I said, your outputs are just a little long. So just grinding them a little bit, grind a little bit, grind a little bit. There you go. SCX10 drive shafts work the same if you can get your hands on the wild boars. They work fantastic. I gotta get these safety glasses off that I was wearing. The old school SCX 10.1 WB8 drive shaft is what I prefer. It's what I'm running in the Marlin. They're every bit as good as going to these metal shafts. Plus, they're a little easier on the drive line because they are plastic, so you'll probably twist or bind or break one of them before you break a diff or anything. So, there you go, guys. That's your drive shaft install. And what's his name?
Hedgie.
Hedgie helped. Anyways, from the RC Dungeon, peace.
Peace.